All right guys, another comparison video between the Sony ZV-1 and the Osmo Action. So I'm not gonna throw either of these cameras up on gimbals. I'm just gonna use them handheld throughout this comparison video. I also wanna note there's some obvious differences between the two. This is an action camera, so it's made so that it can get submerged underwater, whereas the ZV-1 is just water resistant. We're just gonna be comparing like the video quality, slow motion, image stabilization, and things like that. I manually set both of the exposure settings to be the exact same so that we can have a really good idea of what the picture quality looks like straight out of camera. I'm not gonna use the ND filter that's on this camera, and I'm not gonna put any ND filters on the Osmo Action. We're just gonna see what the picture looks like straight out of camera so we can have a really good apples to apples comparison. So the first noticeable difference is the price. The Osmo Action comes in at $350 US. The ZV-1 is $750 US. It does come with a lot more features and functionality. The Osmo Action can go underwater. So for the first comparison, we're gonna see how convenient either of these cameras are just to pull out of your camera bag and go out and start shooting. Well, to the eye, it looks like there's not much to do for either of these cameras. You just pull it out of your camera bag and you go shoot. But the truth is that when you go out and you shoot on a sunny day, you need some accessories for the Osmo Action, like a screw-on ND filter, whereas this has an ND filter built inside. So for the convenience factor, ZV-1 takes the cake. So now we're gonna compare the image stabilization on both of these cameras to see how it looks when you walk with them handheld. Now there are some tricks that you can do with the Osmo Action, such as putting it into a handle and then flipping it upside down and just letting it dangle, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna hold the cameras handheld while we walk and see how good the image stabilization is. All right guys, so even though it was a close test, I'm gonna give this one to the Osmo Action. This has a great feature inside of it called Active, and it really does smooth out that video, but not as much as the rock steady function does in the Osmo Action. This one goes to the Osmo Action. Moving on, we're gonna submerge both of these cameras underwater to see which one lasts the longest before the battery dies and you have to send it back to the manufacturer. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna test out the battery life. The battery life on the ZV-1 lasts me about an hour if I'm consistently shooting, whereas the Osmo Action will actually last 3 hours if I'm consistently shooting. This one goes to the Osmo Action. Now we're gonna test out the slow motion on both of these cameras to see if the quality of the video starts to fall off once you raise the frame rates. All right, so both the ZV-1 and the Osmo Action both performed outstanding in the slow motion test. I did notice a little bit of quality fall off when it came to the Osmo Action, so I'm gonna give this one to the ZV-1 because it was able to maintain that high quality definition. But I do wanna note that the Osmo Action gave me way more creative freedom when it came into getting those low angle shots and some of those high angle shots, whereas I couldn't really do that with the ZV-1. So versatility goes to the Osmo Action, slow motion goes to the ZV-1. Now we're gonna test out the audio on both of these cameras to see how the internal mics sound with no external mics attached to them. ZV-1 audio test 12 feet away. Osmo Action audio test at 12 feet. ZV-1 audio test 6 feet away. Osmo Action audio test at 5 feet. ZV-1 audio test 3 feet away. Osmo Action audio test at 3 feet. All right, so the ZV-1 definitely won that one. It sounds a lot better quality compared to the Osmo Action. Don't forget the Osmo Action has an internal mic that's waterproof, so there's a lot of functionality in there that kind of blocks the real life sound of what audio voice sounds like. Osmo Action audio test at 3 feet. Finally, we're gonna test out these cameras in low light to see how they perform in a low key setting. We're gonna turn the ISO up as high as we can before the footage starts to fall apart. So the ZV-1 definitely did better, although the footage started to fall apart between 2500 and 3200. The Osmo Action started to fall apart between 1800 and 2000. This one goes to the ZV-1. So the bottom line is these are two completely different cameras and they're used for completely different things. The Osmo Action is a great action camera that you can use for underwater or action sports. My recommendation is to get both of them if you have the budget for it. I use the Osmo Action all of the time. I also plan to use the ZV-1 all of the time because of its functionality. So I hope this video helped you understand the differences between these two cameras to help you make a better informed decision on which system is best for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Joe with Potter Made, and let's grow as we go. Peace.